Unfortunately, the figures just get grimmer and grimmer. Today, 14 killed on the Azeri side, according to the Azeri Defense Ministry, and 3 civilians killed this afternoon in the town of Martakert on the Armenian-held side.
Yet the leaders show little interest in negotiation. Men have crowded outside conscription offices in the capital Baku, ready to be sent to battle.
No, there is no fear. Our country needs us. We'll go as far as necessary for our country.
Nagorno-Karabakh is internationally recognized as part of Azerbaijan.
And we're back. Check. Are we back? Yes, we are. And we're talking about Trump, the debate, and what we just saw was just news about the hot war that is going on between Azerbaijan and Armenia. As you heard, dozens killed so far since Sunday. International, other countries are asking them to put down their arms and resume peace talks. That is not happening. Neither side is interested. You saw all those guys signing up pretty much to die, or at least showing they're ready and willing to risk their life for their country in that current hot conflict right now that is going on versus, Azerbaijan versus Armenia.
Who do you think's going to win, Azerbaijan or Armenia?
That I cannot say.
So Russia shot down an Armenian plane on behest of Azerbaijan. Turkey has a Air Force contingent in Azerbaijani Air Force Base, and they shot down an Armenian plane, they said, entered their airspace. So we have Turkey now involved, and the Azerbaijanis are a Shia sect. Iran is also Shia. Azerbaijan is the world's only other Shia country besides Iran. We have countries like Iran and also countries like Syria and Yemen. They're also partly Shia, but Azerbaijan is Shia. They're not allied to Iran, though, because they're going to let Israel use their air force to attack Azerbaijan. Armenia is allied with Russia because they're both the Slavic type of people. So, and also Russia has troops in Armenia, and they have a peace force there monitoring the border. So Russia could easily get involved in this. We have Turkey involved. This could turn into a way bigger situation. There's already dozens dead on both sides right now, so it could end up into a really bad situation. We already have 3 countries involved now: Azerbaijan, Armenia, and Turkey. And there are Russian troops on the ground in Armenia at the border. Deborah says she feels sorry for the people of Azerbaijan.
Oh, let me grab this.
I'm wondering why Azerbaijan, not Armenia. Because who do you think started this, Azerbaijan or Armenia?
I cannot honestly answer that question. I don't have all the deets. All I know is what I've read so far.
I'd say basically what happened is the Armenians are in a little enclave in Azerbaijan, and Azerbaijan as a country has grown because the Armenians have a low birth rate and the Azerbaijanis have a high birth rate. So they managed to outpopulate the Armenians, and once they outpopulated them, they took over the land recently, and the Armenians are in an enclave. The Armenians are Christian, the Azerbaijanis are Shia Muslim, and partly because of that is why they don't get along. Some people compare it to the Israeli-Palestinian conflict.
So, can you say that again?
I guess the Christians in this situation would be the Palestinians, and the Jews in this situation would be the the Azerbaijanis.
Yeah, that's why I didn't understand, because the Azerbaijanis are
They're the ones
Shia Muslim, but they're allies of Israel.
Yeah, well, they're going to let Israel use their air base apparently to attack Iran to get rid of nukes if Iran ever makes them.
So 3 civilians killed
But that's kind of like a side story.
in the conflict. That was
3
today.
civilians today,
3 killed.
the other day there was like 30 that were shot, and then today there's like how many? Like more than a dozen on one side, than like how many? 18 on the other side or something.
It says so far today 80 have been killed since fighting began.
Yeah, we're going to be at a few hundred soon if this doesn't stop, and that's quite a lot. Especially
Plus
we have
7 civilians total.
We have Russian and Turkish troops there, Armenian and Azerbaijanis in a small little area. It's definitely like a huge chance for a mistake to happen.
Turkish F-16s are involved.
Yeah, they shot down the Armenian plane that they said violated airspace. So we're not really sure if they did or not.
So this debate, what do you think?
Well, I think that Trump lost the debate because he didn't win it. I think most people say it was a tie. Maybe super hardcore Republicans say he won it, but I think even most Republicans say that he lost or didn't do good. Like Chris Christie prepped him for the debate, and he went on TV saying that Trump lost and didn't do good. So his Chris Christie, his own advisor for the debate, said that he didn't do good. Everyone on Fox News says he didn't. Obviously, if the conservative media says he didn't do good and the liberal media says he didn't do good, then it seems like he didn't do good. There's not many people saying that he won or did good. Nobody's really saying that.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if it was like a situation where we will do that, Deborah. Post the link to the article.
Well, you can also just Google Chris Christie debate. It was all over the news, like everywhere. It was on CNN, Fox.
I didn't see that.
Yeah,
but
if you just Google it. But I mean, to be honest, if you like Trump, you're not looking at CNN and MSNBC. You're only watching like OAN or like Fox News. You're not looking at all the news probably if you're conservative.
Yeah, you talking about me?
Well, just anybody. I watch Al Jazeera and like the Jerusalem Post at once, and I watch CNN and Fox. If you're like super hardcore mega fan, you're just saying CNN is garbage, which it is, but you're not watching it to see the other side. You're only seeing one side of the story. You're not gonna see. They're obviously not gonna criticize them hardcore on Fox, but I was still seeing criticism on Fox. I was still seeing on the news Chris Christie saying that Trump did bad, and Chris Christie was the one who advised Trump for the debate. As somebody who's like politically neutral, independent, even if Trump won by a slight margin, he basically still like lost by default. Everyone in the entire world is saying it was an embarrassment. Look at all the world media. They all said it was an embarrassment. Even the all American media said it was an embarrassment, that it was bad. It looked bad for America. Nobody really won, but if nobody really won, then Trump lost by default. I was expecting Trump to blow Biden away because I always say Biden has dementia, but I say it all the time that he has dementia, that he's the worst Democrat. They could have picked anybody else. Like, they could have picked Yang. They could have picked so many other people.
Yeah, Yang would have been the best choice.
Yeah. Bernie. They could have had Bernie Sanders.
Well, I mean,
like,
when you look at like I don't even know, would Yang be approved by the deep state?
Well, everybody wants these bailouts and stuff for the civilians. They all want another stimulus package. Yang was already saying he was going to do that anyways before the whole thing. That was already, so like he was ahead of his time really, and he was kind of independent. He wasn't bashing Trump or Republicans. He's the only Democrat trying to.
I think when you're talking
in the
about
middle.
the rise of populism as a political, the winning political platform of the day,
Yeah.
you're looking at Bernie Sanders as the opposition to Donald Trump. I think
But he had
that's how I see it.
He also had a heart attack right before all this, and then he caved in to Biden, and he's like saying Biden is great, and I'm looking like, no, he really isn't great.
He got
So,
paid out or something.
I just got disillusioned by Bernie because he was supposed to be like anti like establishment, kind of like the Democratic answer to Trump, you know, and then he just caved into like the whole establishment, and so it's like I'm not really too much of a fan of Bernie Sanders anymore, even though I did kind of like him before. I just don't like how he caved into like the Democratic establishment. I thought he was different, kind of how people think Trump is different, you know. I'm disappointed in Trump in the debates because I thought he'd blow Biden away, but he really did not blow Biden away at all. Biden even told him to shut up at one point, which was kind of funny.
Yeah, I did.
I don't know. Like Biden must be on a new type of pill or something. Because
Number 2, Wallace. You got to admit the moderator was definitely stricter on Trump.
That's funny. Yeah, I saw him laughing a few times while less in the debate.
Would you say that he was stricter on Trump though?
Well, I mean, Wallace is on Fox News, isn't he?
But he is, but he's actually a registered Democrat.
Yeah, but no Democrats on Fox News are real Democrats.
Or no Fox anchors who are registered Democrats are real Fox News anchors. Or maybe they're all like that.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, but Trump also was speaking out more than Biden. So Trump needed more discipline than Biden. That's obvious. Even somebody who likes Trump can tell that he needs more discipline. Look at his Twitter account. Trump is totally unhinged compared to Biden. Biden says creepy things like about like being in the pool and like boys touching his leg hair, and like he says to me like is creepy with kids. And Joe Biden is creepy, but he's not unhinged on Twitter like Trump. Yeah, the media is way tougher on Trump. That's pretty obvious, though. I don't need to say that. I don't know. Disappointment in Trump coming from somebody who's neutral. Trump could have done way better. Gonna watch the next one. Like, entertainment wise, I'm looking at it, hoping like Trump like destroys Biden, you know, just like is entertainment TV. It seems like he has the potential to destroy Biden. There's a lot of things. He said the thing about Biden, how Biden said black people are super predators and stuff, and Biden didn't say that, and the Clintons said that.
Wait, so what happened exactly?
He just bring up Biden's past with Biden and the Clintons, and some other Dems used to talk about like super criminals and super predators, like referring to like poor black people and stuff. And he bring that up. He could have done better. I don't know. Trump could have done better. We'll see what happens in the next debate, but I don't think Trump won, really.
Yeah, I hesitate to say that he did well for sure. I don't think he did well. He seemed low energy.
But Biden, Biden also did not do well. He did well for Joe Biden.
I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is like that's a very low bar. Maybe that's what they're trying to do. Is they tried to set the bar so low before this happened.
So all he has to do is complete a sentence.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Joe Biden's actually like the people that handle him are actually complete geniuses. Like, let's show him not even being able to talk in his basement for months on end. Then when he actually makes 2 sentences, we win.
When Trump is so shocked he can't even respond.
It's like a genius campaign. Everybody sees he can say a sentence and he wins.
Watch an old video of Wallace.
Just ask your question this though. Do you think Joe Biden can live for like over 8 more years and like not even live but function at like the highest capacity needed to be the leader of the free world? Can Joe Biden make it like 9 more years almost and like be like super fit mentally and handle
Yeah.
everything, because most people think he's on decline as it is. Can he pull this off for over 8 years?
He reminds me of like
I don't think so.
your normal old guy that you might meet, like your normal white old guy that you would see.
Yeah. Sharon says he was on something. They definitely had him on like some new super pill. They had him off his meds before on TV, and they're like, it was like a whole plan, probably. Then they put him back on his meds, and he's like speaking normally.
That was not a debate. Trump's malignant narcissism was on full display.
Yeah, I mean, Biden told Trump to shut up too. That wasn't like super presidential. Biden is not known for being like super presidential either. He makes a fool of himself constantly. He just doesn't do it on Twitter because his handlers don't give him his phone, probably. That's probably why.
They don't allow him to have
They
it.
take his laptop and his phone away.
They probably give him like an Etch-a-Sketch or something.
They give him one of those like fake Barbie phones or something.
Those little drug dealer
Yeah,
phones.
Biden is definitely not allowed to have a phone.
Fox is owned by Rupert Murdoch, a British noble, operated by his Democrat spawn.
Yeah, Rupert Murdoch, I think, has a problem with Trump a little bit. Trump's better on like OAN. He's better with like the underground Republican media, whatever that is. Steven Crowder.
I haven't even watched Steven Crowder.
Tim Pool.
I
don't know who else
I
there
know
is.
who he is. I know who Tim Pool is. Tim Pool is like famous, is he?
Is he?
I would say he's famous.
I just need to get a beanie, then I'll be famous.
Yeah.
I'm gonna vote for Mega and wear a beanie.
You're wrong if you believe the moderator wasn't biased.
No, I said the moderator is biased. I said the media, obviously. The media has the worst bias for Trump out of any president probably ever. I mean, you have to be going back like pretty long. I can't go back like 100 years, but seems like it to me. The media has the most bias towards Trump of like any president that I know of. It's pretty bad. And I'm saying that as somebody who thinks Trump really isn't that great. But yeah,
who are you voting for,
they have a
bro?
bad bias. That's pretty true.
I will be voting for Donald Trump.
He's Trump mega all the way. Trump's going to have to really mess up for it not to get Addie's vote.
Yeah, that's true.
MSNBC. Yeah, they're the worst. CNN used to be so much better. And Fox News used to be better too.
Yeah, MSN, the mainstream media.
I'd say CNN declined more than Fox News.
Dude, CNN, man, it used to be like, I used to watch them a lot, just as a function of being around people who watch them, and yeah, I don't trust them at all. MSNBC also completely lost my trust.
CNN's good on the weather news.
Yeah.
But if you're watching Fox, you really can't get the full story unless you also watch CNN, because like that's half the story. You go watch The Hill.
Yeah, I like the underground media. I like, The Hill or OAN. RT is fantastic. Let's be honest here, folks.
RT, I like RT.
I think RT is fantastic.
The New York Times is good sometimes.
I mean, Vice does great stuff on Mexico. I think they
do good.
Their stuff on Mexico is
but their news
great.
is crappy.
Yeah.
Their news is crappy, but their documentaries are pretty good.
Yeah, their documentaries are.
Yeah, I like libertarians. I'm like almost a libertarian. I'm like half libertarian, half.
I'm probably
Democrat.
closest to libertarian.
I could be a libertarian maybe if there's a good libertarian.
If I had to pigeonhole myself.
We're not talking about what was said in the debate. Well, we are. We're talking about how Biden said to shut up. We're talking about how Trump said the super predators. That was all said in the debate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think
Trump asked Biden to call out Antifa.
Yeah, well,
But Trump also hasn't called out white supremacists. he obviously caters to the white supremacist vote by not specifically calling it out. That's very obvious to me. He doesn't talk bad about the white supremacists because whatever the percentage of white supremacists is in America, it's probably small. I don't know what the percentage is. He obviously doesn't trust them because he wants their vote. That's how it seems to me. He doesn't speak good about
Oh
them.
yeah,
or
do you remember
praise
when
them.
they started talking about Hunter Biden? Trump just started talking about Hunter Biden.
Hunter Biden is definitely corrupt. More than Trump's kids.
That was hilarious. That's why I was like, I don't know if he won, you know? Like, did he win? Like, Trump is like, who is like gonna vote for Biden because of the fact that
Did you see Trump said he didn't know who the Proud Boys are? Like, that's an obvious lie. If he doesn't know who the Proud Boys are, he shouldn't be president of America, first off.
yeah, that was a fib.
He's either lying or if he's telling the truth, then he's unfit to be president.
The Whigs. She wants to join the Whig party. Teresa feels like he was debating both Wallace and Creepy Joe.
Proud Boys aren't also a white supremacist group because their leader is like a black Puerto Rican dude. It's just another example of how he plays stupid. He's either is extremely stupid, unfit to be president if he doesn't know who the Proud Boys are, when the biggest militias in America right now threatening a civil war here. So he's either completely he's either completely stupid and unhinged, completely unfit for president, or he's just plain stupid to cater to militia and alt-right and like white supremacists and the fringe votes. And Proud Boys is not white supremacist. They're not a racist group either. They're a drinking club officially, but
I don't understand them really. What are they about?
They're a drinking club that Gavin McInnes, the co-founder of Vice, founded them to be a drinking club, and then it picked up online, and it turned into a militia, like a joke militia, and then it turned into a real militia when they started going in the streets against Antifa. It's just like a bunch of ex-frat boys basically going out with guns and bulletproof vests and tactical gear to stand up to Antifa. They're not burning down buildings and stuff, but they're also an armed militia standing up to another armed militia, which will create a civil war type environment instead of letting the police or the National Guard deal with them.
Yeah.
Which is how it probably should be, so it doesn't create a civil war. But yeah, Proud Boys they're not burning things, but they're stoking the fire. Wallace called them white supremacists. Yeah, I can't stand when people call the Proud Boys white supremacists. They're not. Look at the leader. He looks like a black guy or like a Puerto Rican guy. I think he's Puerto Rican, but he looks like a blackish Puerto Rican guy.
He's like Latino of some sort.
Yeah, he's very dark-skinned. He's obviously not a white supremacist. That would be stupid just to say that.
The 1%ers of the bad boys. Northern Whigs joined Republican Party. Southern Whigs joined Democratic Party. Yeah, Deborah was alive back then, believe it or not.
Yeah.
So that's how she knows.
I mean, it's different now, though. The parties have flip-flopped.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
I mean, the parties have flip-flopped since COVID started.
Oh, you mean...
Republicans were taking COVID more serious than Democrats. Trump did the travel bans, and the Democrats were saying de Blasio and the New York City, council board and everything was telling people to go out and go to Broadway and go to Chinatown in February. Trump was closing the borders down, and Biden was calling him xenophobic for doing that. Now Democrats are taking it serious, and Republicans aren't taking it as serious. The parties just in the last 6 months have 100% flip-flopped. They both look like idiots.
Yeah.
And anybody who is believing the parties and following behind them and willing to risk their lives in the streets, it's foolish. Just go back and look at all the mass videos of Fauci and Surgeon General and all the Democrats.
Jerome Adams.
Look at MSNBC and CNN trying to explain how people are too stupid.
Let's not forget this, people. Jerome Adams.
They told us we wouldn't know how to use masks. That we would touch our faces. Jerome
Adams.
Now you have to wear your mask. Well, they all did. Fauci did too. And Trump still is not promoting mask use. Really. I don't know.
He kept it strapped on him. He kept that thing on him. You know.
He showed that he had it in his pocket, and
there.
everybody was tested. Still, when you see him, most of the time he's not wearing the mask.
I think that's what was the best answer.
Does it make Biden look weak to wear the mask? Maybe.
He had the better answer. Trump had the better mask answer. Let's be honest. Use it when it's necessary. Biden's was like, oh yeah, just wear it all the time.
Well, Biden wasn't wearing a mask at the debate either, so they both weren't wearing the mask.
He's such a dirt, dude. He just reminds me of an old man. Like,
I mean, if Biden gets COVID, he's probably gonna die.
Yeah. Well, one can only hope that society gets better.
Somebody says Trump was Democrat until like 3 years ago. Yeah, pretty much.
I was a Democrat. You were a Democrat, right?
Me?
Weren't you?
No, just whatever.
But like before, were you a Democrat before?
Like, before all this happened, I was liking Yang or Bernie Sanders, but now I don't like Bernie Sanders anymore because he caved into Biden. I don't like Biden because
we have to make the third party stronger. This is what I'm trying to say. I'm putting this out. We have to think about the foundational structure of this nation, and third parties are a big part of that, I think.
Yeah.
Like libertarians.
It seems like third parties will never gain power.
I think I think 2024 could
everyone
be a
says
year.
they're Democrats when they grow up. I was the opposite. I was Republican until like a while ago, and then I was turned more independent or Democrat. I was a Republican growing up. You usually are whatever your family is.
Mm-hmm.
If you're raised by Democrats, you're pretty much Democrat. If you're raised by Republicans,
that's right.
I was raised in a Republican household, so I was Republican most of my life.
I was raised in a Democratic household. I actually went and saw Barack Obama speak in Wisconsin in person when I was, I think I was 12 years old. Went to go see Obama speak with my siblings and I think my mom. So that was pretty cool, I guess. But turns out he may be a pedophile. We don't know.
Sharon said Trump paid $700 in taxes. Yeah, they're saying Trump didn't barely pay any taxes. It's hard to tell exactly for sure, but that's what it looks like, I guess. What do you think?
Well, I think tax laws are not fairly written. I think if you think they're fairly written, you're
like Starbucks
naive.
And like Disney and Netflix and Google, all these huge companies, Amazon, they never pay taxes because they're in like Ireland or the Virgin Islands or like some crazy places, and they like just don't pay taxes, and they have all these tax loopholes.
We are the cure. We are the cure, people. I just want to say that.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. Hopefully the next debate's better.
I wanted to talk about Julian Assange. Huge trial of the century. This is the war on journalism. Journalism on trial. The truth hangs in the
war
balance.
On journalism and hacking.
Julian Assange.
Some people's journalist is another person's hacker.
At the Old Bailey, London, United Kingdom. Last week, the defense and the prosecution were evaluating Julian Assange's mental health. This week, we have two anonymous witnesses from a company called UC Global out of Spain, a security company that won the contract bid from the CIA to spy on Julian Assange, basically. the head of the company, his name was Morales. First name, I can't remember his first name, but Morales said that he, quote, went to the dark side. He turned to the dark side, and by that he meant he started to cooperate with American intelligence. That's what he meant by going to the dark side. So Julian Assange, also, the U.S. government was debating poisoning him. This was also testified by one of these anonymous witnesses. I just wanted to mention that, because Julian Assange is, I don't know, I think it's important. Not many people are covering it that I can see, even in alternative media, let alone the mainstream media. And Julian Assange's story is, his name is already etched into the history books. His name will be, if we go back to the Stone Age, they'll draw paintings, the cavemen.
That's not for sure.
And Julian Assange, he'll be part of the cavemen.
Well, history is
Painting
by the
world.
winners, so they can pretty easily erase them from history. I won't say that just yet.
Yeah. Okay.
They can rewrite history pretty easily.
There we go.
Make him look like a villain.
Oh yeah, for sure. They'll try.
I guess he'll be remembered to some extent.
They'll have to kill a lot of people, though, won't they?
He might not be remembered that well. Depends who wins. If he loses, he's not going to be remembered too well. And the section on him will also be a lot smaller.
They'll probably make a movie about him, though.
Yeah, but it'll probably be a crappy movie compared to if he wins.
True. Yeah, it'll definitely have a much sadder ending. On that note, there was a guy who individually and independently attempted to assassinate Adolf Hitler. His name was Elser, Elseer.
So Assange is going to jail for life, though. He's not getting out. It's not a real trial. You realize that, right?
You have no hope at all.
Yeah. It's not a real trial. He's like a hacker, and he got hold of information, and they can't kill you in America. Not unless you're black, I guess. So they're going to just put him in jail for life.
Yeah. You have no hope at all that he might get acquitted.
Because they would have killed Snowden already. He's never getting. Snowden comes back, he's in jail for life. He's going to jail for life. He's not coming out. If he does, he's going to be super old.
I think they should both be pardoned. I think if Trump did that, he may win in a landslide. It's an extremely popular, I think.
I don't think so, because he'll lose his whole neocon and like his whole conservative base.
Dude, I don't know. I don't think they're that big. Do you? I think there's many more people who
evangelical
wow.
Christians, neocons, conservative Americans, middle America, everybody in the Midwest, they aren't like you. They worship Jesus. They go to church every 2 or 3 days.
You're making me sound like a bad guy here.
They don't smoke. They don't drink. They wear suits and ties, and they go to work 9 to 5. They don't like
straight edge.
They don't like him. They're not. You're barely Republican. 99% of Republicans don't like you. So they don't like Julian Assange. Republicans. Only conspiracy theorists Republicans like.
I don't know, dude. I think he's a little more popular with Republicans than you.
The same amount of people who think 5G is bad for you also are on Julian Assange's side. The fringe America, 1%, 2%, 3%. Yeah. I'm telling you, it's not even minority America. It's like a tiny fraction that wants him out. It's not a large percentage. He's going to jail for life, and he doesn't really have that much support either. He has a fringe support. CNN doesn't want him out. Fox doesn't want him out. Nobody really wants him out. Only small fringe, like counterculture group wants him out of jail.
Dude, but we need to get a lot of people supporting him.
there's no real major countries that have power that want him out.
But if the U.S. populace though makes it that important,
Yeah, but they don't.
like with the child trafficking too.
Yeah, but nobody cares about child trafficking. Only conspiracy theorists in America care about that. Nobody else
Pretty
cares
much.
about that.
And nobody cares about.
Conspiracy theorists, whatever side they're on, are like a 1% of America. That they're even less probably.
Well, I'm still gonna keep covering them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think he did anything wrong, but he's going to jail for life. If it was me, I wouldn't have released the information because I would have known I would have been like killed or went to jail for life. I guess it was mostly the right thing to do, but he's about to pay for it.
Yeah, it's just a bad deal.
Yeah, he's never getting out. It's not a fair trial. It's whatever America, Britain won, I guess.
And we also found out the U.S. considered poisoning Assange, as well as using the excuse, believe it or not, that the door was ajar and someone came and kidnapped him. Seriously.
Yeah, they probably had like multiple like assassination plans for him.
40 people have died so far on the West Coast in fires in the year 2020. This has been the craziest, shall we agree, year of all of our lives, mostly. Unless you're in the greatest generation, then this is not much for you. But for the rest of us, this is pretty monumental. As we said, bigger than I call it 9/11. 9/11 and
Next year is going to be way worse than this year, though.
You think so?
As soon as we get to fall and winter, we're going to have extremely high deaths of COVID.
You mean with the fires too, or just COVID?
Well, the fires, a lot more people are going to die because the fires are going to go on for about another month. And then we're going to get into COVID season in America when it's finally gained a real foothold here compared to last year. There's a pretty good foothold here, so this fall and winter should be pretty bad. We'll probably be near 500,000 deaths by the time the year's over, maybe even more. After the elections, the protesting, the rioting will get really bad. If Trump wins, the protests will never end.
No Name has a good point. They just had huge Buckingham Palace protests. You know, there's another thing crazy about this year in 2020, which I think has been true more so than many other years. Is like there's just so many crazy stories.
So they had
so many one after another. It's just ridiculous.
They had
it's hard to keep up with them all.
They had a couple hundred people at Buckingham Palace for 5G and child trafficking, but Philadelphia, like 10 times, has had like 10,000 people march for Black Lives Matter. Yeah, there was like a boat parade with like 300 people for Trump, but you have cities in America that have 10,000 people every weekend, like a ton of times. Let's be honest, these right wing or the conspiracy theorists, 5G, and I think 5G is bad too. They're nowhere near the BLM like Antifa crowds at all. I go to the BLM Antifa protests. There's not one mega supporter there. There aren't any in Buffalo. They're not.
It's dangerous.
They're not occurring. Well, even on their own, they're not occurring. The numbers aren't there. They just
is this a silent majority?
You could go have a child kidnapping or child pedophilia ring protest and get hundreds of thousands of people, but
see, look at that. You can 35K in London for child trafficking.
Yeah, I don't believe those numbers.
We don't have a believer here. I don't know if is that true?
Yeah, I don't believe that because London. That's not true because London, you're not even allowed to protest or gather more than 6 right now.
Those would be the Buckingham protests, right? Yeah, because the Buckingham protest was not that big, but the video
Yeah, they're cracking down in the protest. That's fake news. I'm sorry to say. It's not nearly that big. You're not really allowed to protest in England right now, and if you do manage to get a protest for more than a few hundred people, then the police start cracking down on it.
Yeah, 35K. I don't know where you got that from. Maybe you're testing
Buckingham
us.
Palace can only hold like a few hundred people in that area.
They made 3,500.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, for the lockdown protest. Okay, yeah, that was a couple Saturdays ago or last Saturday, and they just had another one too. Berlin and the millions.
Yeah, I mean, that isn't true because there hasn't been a protest that big since COVID started.
It's not fake news. Watch it. Watch the video.
It's pretty hard to get 35,000 people in the city at one time.
Miss Assange more than the neocons.
I'm looking at BBC, RT, CBS, Time Magazine. I'm not finding those numbers anywhere. Every place it says hundreds. Yeah, I'm gonna say that's not true because I've never heard of a 35,000 person protest. That's not true. If you get a protest of 35,000 people, you're going to be looking at a civil war where the government's overthrown. The protests in Belarus, they're getting at maximum 10,000 people. And at maximum, some of the protests in America since COVID started have gotten up to 10,000. And these are the largest cities in America. So, yeah, there is not a 35,000 person protest. I don't know if that's ever happened, to be honest. If there's ever been I don't think there's ever been a protest with that many people. I don't.
James Comey.
Not recently, at least in America.
James Comey, Operation Crossfire Hurricane. I watched the Comey debate. Comey hearing today.
You probably have to go back to like Martin Luther King protests.
Yeah.
To get that many people.
Comey swears he doesn't remember anything about Christopher Steele's primary subsource, Igor Danchenko, being investigated by the FBI or his own FBI team interviewing Danchenko.
Well, I looked at every media. I looked at Al Jazeera. I looked at Chinese news, Russian news. He looked at all media. That's not true. We couldn't find anything on it, and like dozens of media. We looked.
Oh, are you responding to the comments?
That's not true. There was no 35. We looked at the pictures, everything. That wasn't true at all. You guys, it doesn't matter anyways. Let's move on to the next thing. It's obviously not true.
I hope Belarus becomes free.
Yeah. I doubt they will, though, unless there's intervention from the EU. Do you think Belarus will succeed? Like, see, the protest in Belarus is on the news from Republican and Democrat. The protest there is not a conspiracy theory. There's thousands of people there seeing it. The maximum protest they're getting in Belarus is like 10,000 people, and that's filling up like the entire city.
Comey, I was talking about Comey. Claims he knows nothing about Christopher Steele's subsource.
Comey is a Boy Scout.
James Comey got grilled today by Ted Cruz, among others.
Yeah, I'm not a huge
in
Comey
the
fan.
Senate. And
you think it's true what he said, Comey, about Trump?
I don't believe anything that man says. No, not at all. Also, DNI, Director of National Intelligence, John Radcliffe, declassified a Russian intel doc that asserts Hillary Clinton hatched the Russian hoax.
Lou Dane, if there was 35,000 people there would be one person with the phone with the camera. Because we go to protests in Buffalo with 100 people and we're both filming. If there's 35,000 people there, they're not all paid by George Soros. There would be one person there to at least put a picture. I looked at Jewish news and Arab news. It's not there. There's no agenda.
To pin DNC hacking on Trump.
New York Pepper says I have Polish heritage and I'm watching Belarus closely.
Oh gosh, I almost dropped that.
I mean, I guess hopefully Belarus like falls, I guess, but like peacefully. Lukashenko, hopefully he's out of power, but it happens in a peaceful manner. Usually, though, when that type of stuff happens, it doesn't happen very peacefully, though.
I'm doing another Julian Assange update tomorrow. Shrimp and I are going to do another podcast tomorrow.
But wait, let me ask you, what you think Julian Assange is going to, like, get out of these charges? You think he's not going to do, like, a life sentence?
I don't know, man. I want to believe they don't have that much control that they can just have that be a foregone conclusion. I think that if we do bring more attention to it, that it would really help, and it would, I think, put pressure on the government as the fourth estate, that is the media, and that is the independent media now. And I think, like, because we're so early on the ball, like, YouTubers, that, we're just gonna have bigger and bigger influence as time goes on.
Deborah says Soros pays community organizers. I mean, I would disagree with George Soros. I'd say he's really overrated, because like when I go to the protests, I talk to them. I ask the people where they're from, like, what are you doing here and stuff. All the people are there from like the suburbs going into the city, and it's obvious they're like SJW, like super liberal extremists, and their political ideology is what motivates them. The same thing that's like me saying that George Soros is paying Trump supporters to go to Trump rallies. The people going to Trump rallies are going there because they like Trump. Nobody needs to pay them. They're politically motivated. They are passionate about Donald Trump, and they're going to Trump rallies because they like him. That same passion, Democrats have times like a million for BLM. It's not even close. MAGA people don't even have near the passion that Democrats have for BLM and Antifa and all of that. The protesters there aren't being paid, because I went there. They're not organized by George Soros. It's just random people showing up with crappy signs. None of the protests in Buffalo were paid by George Soros.
Oh, don't be naive. This is Deborah. What do you mean by that, Deborah?
I'm sure that George Soros gives money to like organizations affiliated with BLM, or maybe even directly to BLM. But the people themselves going onto the streets, like, I don't know. I'm motivated enough to go protest for Daniel Prude on the streets. Nobody's paying me. It made me mad when I saw Daniel Prude like get killed. It made me mad when George Floyd got killed. I would go, if the protesters would let me, I would go protest over George Floyd and Daniel Prude. I don't need to be paid. So I'm telling you, the anger that black people have, they don't need to be paid. They're already pissed off. None of the protesters I saw were paid. I talked to like a bunch of them. They're just there out of anger, and they're all like SJW.
They weren't organized enough to be paid.
Yeah, there's no like booth, or like, it's just random people showing up from the suburbs.
You're just looking how they react and interact with each other.
Yeah, it's just like 2 or 3 people showing up that are friends. I'm telling you, I went there firsthand and seen it several times now. It's just random kids from the suburbs going because they think it's cool to go to the protests and dress up. They're going for the same reason that Trump people go to Trump protests and rallies. They're like Tucker Carlson, or like Tucker Carlson's not paying people. It's not a conspiracy. He's not paying people to go to mega rallies. Like Addy Ads isn't paying like white people in the suburbs to go to mega rallies and wear red hats. They're going to the protests for the same reason people go to the mega rallies. But George Soros is donating to BLM, and the Koch brothers are donating to Fox News, and Republicans. Rich people always donate to their political parties. And sometimes rich people donate to both political parties at the same times. But I don't think that's a conspiracy theory. He definitely is. Soros is probably definitely donating to all types of liberal groups. But the protesters themselves, they're not being paid. None of the ones that it's not going to work out. George Soros doesn't have enough money to pay all the protesters even one penny. And nobody's going to go protest for one penny. Me and him are going out there, and it's risky. It's scary. No one's going to do that for a penny.
What would you do it for?
Like, just think about how many protesters are there? Millions. George Soros can't even pay them like 5 cents each. He's not paying the protesters. He might be giving $2 or $3 million to like some BLM person, some org, but like they might buy like some banners or get like an office downtown with it. The protesters themselves are not paid by like one guy to protest. I'm telling you, when I don't like the protesters, but when I see George Floyd, that's enough reason for me to go protest. And I don't need to be paid. The protesters feel the same thing I'm feeling times like a million. Me and him are going to the protest for free, filming them. I mean, what do you think?
Until they tell us water.
Do you think that George Soros? I'm saying that George Soros probably is. I haven't looked into it, but I'm sure he's paying BLM or other liberal groups. Maybe it's somehow getting to Antifa or something. I doubt getting to Antifa, but is it getting to BLM or something? Maybe it's getting Soros. Is he paying BLM or Antifa the protesters? I think. I'm sure he's probably donating to liberal groups. Maybe it's getting to BLM. I haven't looked into it.
I'm sure he's influencing his money some way with BLM. I would imagine, wouldn't you?
What do you think
BLM becomes so powerful?
What do you think BLM does with the money, though? Do you think they like give like here's $5 go protest? Like I don't think nothing like that's happening.
No, but I did see one story where there was a guy in.
They're just buying like political ads.
I think he was in Hollywood. He was a music producer, and he set up a BLM GoFundMe, which is like unaffiliated with.
Yeah, it's going to like that type of stuff.
Yeah, and he just like made like hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Like the leading founder of Black Lives Matter just got arrested on like corruption charges because they took all the money. This is like the person that founded it. They just got arrested. So I don't think it's very organized that they're like paying protesters. She says he's backing city campaigns. Yeah, that's probably true. Yeah, he's probably doing stuff like that to replace the attorney general.
Yeah, did you see that Elon Musk called Bill Gates a knucklehead? It was on the New York Post.
That's funny. Yeah, so I think what Deborah says is probably true. He's probably like there's probably like lobbyists and he's definitely using his money for like political influence. I just don't think they're paying the protesters, and I don't think the protesters are into George Soros either. I don't see them being very much.
That's not the point though. All he wants is for them to take the bricks or whatever and throw it at the window. That's probably the end goal for someone like that.
It's not gonna
go scam me. They make their money and go scam me $200 a day.
Soros owns 80%.
Elon must be smoking more joints nowadays. Soros owns 80% of CNN and SBC.
Is that true?
He owns a lot of it. He owns a lot of media. We got an open AMA here, people. If anybody has questions for myself or Shrimp, feel free to put that in the live comments and we will respond. Again, Julian Assange on trial day, I think 17, I want to say. Day 17, yes. UC Global Director David Morales was mentioned as well.
There's a lot of discrepancy if he owns CNN. Liberals say he doesn't, and Republicans say he has ties to CNN. It doesn't look like he owns CNN, but they just say through investments he has ties to CNN.
Jeff Zucker, I know. I think it's Jeff.
It says Soros spent $27 million trying to defeat President Bush in 2004, and he has ties to 30 mainstream news outlets, but it doesn't say that he owns them. It doesn't say that even Fox News doesn't say he owns any.
Maybe you have this channel and you work for Soros, and you're trying to figure out what the people are thinking.
I think the conspiracy theories on Soros are ridiculous because he's like a Jewish guy that fled the Holocaust. And
yeah, he was literally saved by communists in the siege of Budapest.
I don't know. And some conspiracy theorists even think he's like anti-Semitic. I think that's weird.
Even though he's Jewish?
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not really impressed by George Soros. I think he's like an old, like, crippled man. I don't think he's really that powerful. Like, you know the guy that you look at when you see Home, the cartoon movie?
Yeah.
I think of George Soros. Like, that guy. I don't see him being too powerful, to be honest, but I'm sure he gives millions of dollars to liberal ideology. I don't think it's the end of the world. It's not like he's donating to ISIS. He's donating to Democrats.
Yeah, but the Democrats may be owned and infiltrated by the globalists and or communists.
Republicans are globalists too. Anybody who's rich is usually globalist. Any of these billionaires, not millionaires, but like billionaires, the political elites. If you're a billionaire political elite, doesn't matter what side you're on, you're probably globalist.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll have to get more into George Soros to determine his evilness level.
Yeah, I need
is
to
it
read
high
about
for
him
you?
more. I don't know much about him.
You don't know much about Soros? Deborah thinks this guy's like the end all of evil. I'm gonna have to look into him.
Well, yeah, I mean, I know a bit. I mean, I know he was saved by literally the communists in the siege of Budapest in World War II. Budapest, Hungary, was encircled by the Soviets when the Nazis had control of it towards the end of the war.
Nothing new says we got it wrong. Yeah, I'm aware that people say that he helped tattletale on the Jews and got them killed, but the other part of the story is that he helped save several Jews because he was like from a more prominent family or something. But he was a Jewish dude that escaped the Holocaust. I don't think he's anti-Semitic though. Then his parents died in the Holocaust.
Really?
Yeah, didn't they?
I think you're maybe right.
I just don't.
He was like 10 or
I just don't see
12. I can't remember.
If I'm Jewish and my family died in the Holocaust, I don't really see myself being anti-Semitic. I just don't really get into that.
Yeah, I've never heard that, but
I'll get into the thing where he's donating to Democrats and Republicans.
Yeah. And you can see like how he literally being saved by communists in the siege of Budapest would affect somebody's psychology.
Sure.
Yeah. You know, maybe that's why supposedly he is a communist. So.
No, I don't think he won't admit that he's a communist.
Oh no, we never do that. But. No. Julian Assange.
See, people don't like him because I guess he's donated a lot of money. He's donated $32 billion to open society foundations. That's a lot of money.
I think he's a billionaire, so that's not a whole lot of money for him to donate. But
well, it is. He has a net worth of $8.3 billion, and he's donated $32 billion. That's a lot of money. He's donated $32 billion, and he's worth $8.3. He's donated a ton of money.
That's a decent amount. He single-handedly destroyed Greece's economy, says Lou Dane.
He was born to middle upper class Hungarian Jews.
Globalism is flat Earth.
It says his family survived the war by purchasing documents to say they were Christians.
Trump has been bailed out by Soros and the Rothschilds. Trump is now on their side, and yes, I voted for Donald Trump too. I'll never participate in a lesser two evils ever again. God bless you all. Razor Queen. What's the option, Razor Queen? What do we do? You don't vote? You vote third party? Did you leave the country? What did you do? Let us know. Repair nuts. Sergeant.
Thank you.
Square.
Probably mostly towards Addie.
Maybe.
You guys, I'm gonna get more into Soros and see. I'm reading on him now. We'll see how evil he is. I know a lot of people don't like him. There's like a ton of people who do not like Soros. Not that many people pro Soros. Mostly people just anti Soros.
Swim drank the Kool-Aid.
Fine. For Deborah, for this video, we're saying that Soros is bad.
We are trained communists, says she.
I can't stand communism.
We are trained communists. I want to see what.
I can't stand fascism or anti-fascism.
So new lockdowns. Let's finish with lockdowns. Is that cool? We got a new lockdown in UK, as far as I know. They have a curfew.
Parts of New York City are about to go in lockdown. They're kind of stalling with going out of lockdown because they're about to go back in lockdown. New York City today said you can have 25% capacity indoor dining again, but parts of New York City are threatening to go back on lockdown where there's COVID hotspots. Where I live, Buffalo, COVID cases are going back up, mostly in younger people, and then also in people like 40 to 54. So there's potential for us to go back in lockdown in New York State, all over as we approach fall and winter. Italy, parts of France, Spain, parts of those countries are all having spikes again and going partially into lockdown. There's like cities in Germany that are going into lockdown, Australia. Israel might go into lockdown again. So there's a lot of places in the world that are on second or third waves going back into lockdown. Lou Dane says Antifa are fascists. I would agree. They're idiots because they claim to be anti-fascist, but while doing that, they're actually fascist. So Lou Dane is right. Sharon says she can't take a side. It's all corruption. Yeah. That's why I'm not really taking a side in this. I'm just like sitting back and watching.
Antifa, this is true.
Yeah. Antifa was like better off in Europe when they had something to fight. But now they're like, they don't have Nazis or anybody to fight.
Yeah.
Our American Antifa should go to Belarus. Like, that's where they need Antifa. That's where they have fascism, is in Belarus. We need to take all of our Antifa that we're arresting in Portland and send them to Belarus on a big military plane.
We gotta go libertarianism.
Let's send all of our Antifa to Belarus.
Constitutionalism.
That's where they need them. They should go fight real fascism because that's where it really is.
Yeah, that'd be nice. Like export them and go fight.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think so.
Thanks for tuning in today, folks.
Tune in. If you think it's a good idea to send all of our Antifa to Belarus, give a big thumbs up and donate to us on Patreon if you're a rich Belarusian billionaire watching this, or if you're a billionaire Antifa member watching this and you want to go to Belarus, give us a thumbs up.
Please do.
Hit the bell and so you can be notified for videos and subscribe.
Check out our brand new YouTube channels as well. censorship-free video platform in competition with YouTube out of the United Kingdom. Thanks for tuning in to the Pandemic Podcast, The Great Awakening. This has been Addy Ads, Attic and Skywalker, YouTube's chosen one, along with my co-host Shrimp Zoo, live from Western New York, outside Buffalo, New York,
Free Assange. Denver says thanks, dudes.
in the Shrimp Castle. I want to thank
Somebody
everybody.
says source is like 200 years old.
I want to thank everybody for tuning in and riding with us on this train here this evening. It's oh wow, it's pretty late.
Yeah.
It is, wow, it is 2 a.m. on the East Coast.
I gotta go to bed so I can make some films tomorrow.
It is, wow, that's crazy. Thanks for tuning in, folks. Stay frosty. We will be chatting very soon, I assure you. And until next time, folks.